Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Functional Longevity Podcast. We give you insight on how to get fit, feel younger, live better. I'm your host, Chris Borda, best-selling author and owner of Y.E.S Fitness. And let me first take time to thank you for taking time from your busy day to listen to what I have to say. And also, before I get started, let me also thank our sponsor, Y.E.S Fitness. Most people lose the ability to enjoy life as they age. I know I blanked out about this, but at Y.E.S Fitness, we help people age 40 plus get fit so they can live longer and enjoy those years doing the things they love to do. Some real quick housekeeping here. If you want to get a timestamp or a transcript of today's broadcast, head on over to yesfitnessct.com. Across the top, you'll see buttons for podcast. Excuse me. Click on that button and it'll give you a drop down to now one of our 387 episodes. You can also get this podcast wherever podcasts are found. Boost your longevity with particular supplements. If you're training, eating well, and still dealing with low energy, brain fog, or stubborn blood sugar issues, that's usually not a motivation problem. It's a cellular one. As we age, mitochondrial function slows, metabolic control slips, and recovery takes longer. That's why I use Particular. Their NMN supports cellular energy production. Resveratrol helps protect heart and brain health, and berberine improves blood sugar control and metabolic flexibility, all critical for healthy aging after 40. These are clean, science-backed supplements made right here in the USA, and I've personally noticed better energy, focus, and recovery. If you want your body to respond again, visit particular.com. That's particular.com. Use the code YES15 to get 15% off your order. The misunderstood power of IGF-1 and why context determines whether it helps or hurts. Let me start with something honest here. Yes, I've seen people lose weight using IGF-1 supplements. I have some clients that are using it, and they've lost some weight. The scale does go down. Clothes fit better, sometimes pretty quickly as well. So if you're listening and thinking, Chris, this clearly works, you're not wrong in the short term. But the real question isn't whether weight comes off. The real question is, what kind of weight are you losing, and what does it cost you long term? So what IGF-1 actually is and why the body uses it. IGF-1 stands for insulin-like growth hormone, growth factor 1. It's a hormone the body uses to coordinate tissue repair, muscle maintenance, bone health, metabolic signaling, recovery from physical stress. IGF-1 helps the body answer a simple question. Is this a safe time to grow, repair, and rebuild? When that signal is timed correctly, IGF-1 is a protective, not dangerous. Research consistently shows that IGF-1 plays a key role in muscle repair after resistance training, supports bone density, and helps regulate glucose handling in muscle tissue. This is one reason regular exercise is so strongly linked to healthy aging. Yes, IGF-1 has real health benefits. Let's be clear, IGF-1 is not the villain it's sometimes made out to be. Research shows IGF-1 is involved in muscle regeneration by activating muscle stem cells after training. It's also higher physiological IGF-1 activity is associated with better preservation of lean muscle with aging. IGF-1 supports bone remodeling and skeletal strength, and low IGF-1 levels have been associated with higher cardiovascular risk in observational studies. In other words, IGF-1 is part of the body's repair and resilience system. The problem isn't IGF-1 itself. The problem is chronically elevating it without demand. So here's why people lose weight on IGF-1 supplements. And here's where the confusion starts. IGF-1 can suppress hunger signals, reduce total calorie intake, increase protein turnover. When appetite drops, calories drop. And when calories drop, the scale goes down. So yes, weight loss happens, but weight loss is not automatically fat loss. Here's what the scale isn't telling you. When hunger is suppressed without resistance training and adequate protein, the body still has needs. It requires amino acids for immune function, hormones, enzymes, and tissue maintenance. If those amino acids don't come from food, they come from skeletal muscle. That's the evil. So the weight being lost can include muscle tissue, glycogen, and water, not preferential fat. And that's where the long-term problems begin. So here's why muscle loss is a serious issue, especially over 40. We've talked about this many times. Muscle is longevity, actually the longevity organ. It's not just for cosmetics. Muscle drives resting metabolic metabolism, improves insulin sensitivity, protects against injury and falls, and preserves independence as we age. The loss of muscle is associated with slow metabolism, greater fat regain, increased frailty risk, and higher all-cause mortality. So someone can lose weight and actually become less healthy underneath. So what happens when the supplement stops? This is part people really think about. When appetite suppression ends, hunger returns, calories increase, but muscle mass is now lower. Lower muscle mass means fewer calories burned at rest, worse glucose control, easier fat regain. This is why people often gain weight quickly, sometimes even more than before. They didn't just regain weight. They regained it with less muscle and slower metabolism. And this is why exercise changes everything. Because here's some good news. Exercise, especially resistance training, completely changes how IGF-1 behaves. When you train, IGF-1 releases locally in muscles where it's used for repair. The body receives a clear signal that muscle tissue is valuable, and nutrients are directed towards recovery instead of breakdown. Exercise turns IGF-1 from a blunt signal into a targeted tool. And here's why exercise-driven IGF is protective, because when you exercise, it lowers baseline IGF-1 while preserving responsiveness. It increases the IGF-1 binding proteins, limiting insulin like fat storage effects, and directs IGF-1 toward muscle instead of fat tissues. Supplements raise the signal. Exercise controls the destination. And that's the difference between adaptation and deterioration. Where protein fits all in this, because protein completes the system. Without enough protein, muscle breaks down, accelerates. Weight loss becomes muscle loss. With protein and training, IGF-1 supports repair. Muscle is preserved and fat loss is more sustainable. And that's why resistance training and adequate protein are non-negotiable for long-term fat loss and longevity. So yes, people can lose weight using IGF-1 supplements, but weight loss that costs muscle, slows metabolism, and increases frailty and rebounds aggressively, it's not success. Exercise prevents those outcomes by preserving muscle, protecting metabolic rate, directing IGF-1 where it belongs, and supporting long-term fat loss and healthy aging. We don't need appetite suppression. We need muscle protection. And that comes from training, not bottles. So my final takeaway here is, if your goals are fat loss, strength, longevity, independence as you age, the order never changes. Resistance training, adequate protein, sleep and recovery, energy balance, and daily movement. IGF-1 should respond to those behaviors, not try to replace them. The scale isn't easy to fool. Your biology isn't. Pardon me, the scale is easy to fool. Your biology isn't. So I hope this helps clear or make it a little bit clearer what IGF-1 is and how it works in the body. And not to say you shouldn't do it. It certainly can help you lose some weight, but I definitely think you should be lifting some weights while you're doing that. Exercise, getting enough protein so you maintain that muscle mass. So I'll be back again next week with more information on how to get fit, feel younger, and live better.